I want you to flip to the back because you have a box plot that is already done for you. So this says up here, oops, didn't mean to do that. This says age of U.S. vice presidents. And just so you know, you see how this dot isn't exactly on a 35? If this is 35, this is 40, this is 37.5, that means this dot would be 36, just so you know. But range, it's multiple choice. It's got to be one of those four. Big minus little. Interquartile range, we just did those on the back. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to try 1, 2, and 3 on your own. So do them on your own, pause the video. When you're done, restart it, and we'll see if you had it right. Okay, go ahead. All right, let's start with the range. So first off, big minus little. Our big number here, that looks like, could it be 70? Looks a little higher than 70, maybe 71. So I'm thinking 71 minus the small number. We already said this is 36. And 71 minus 36, if you type that into your calculator, let me think, 36, 46, 56, 66, you should have 35A. If you had A, give yourself a C. 2, interquartile range. So here is Q3. Here is Q1. You just got to subtract those. Q3 looks like it's right on the 60. Q1 looks like it's a little bit below, probably 49. So I'm thinking it's going to be 60 minus 49 equals 11. That would be the interquartile range. Now 3, it says what percent of U.S. vice presidents were 60 or older when they took office? Now, here's what you got to remember. Each section of a box plot is 25%. So this is 25%. This is 25%. This is 25%. And then finally, this is 25%. So this question says, what percentage of U.S. vice presidents were 60 or older? So here is 60. 60 or older would be this, and that's 25%. So for this one, you should have 25%. All right. Now, here is your job. You are going to do 4, 5, and 6 on your own. To pause the video, do them, and then restart it to see how you do. Go. All right, let's try 4. What percent of U.S. vice presidents were 53 or younger? So let me find 53. 53 looks like, if this is 50, this is 55, this is 52.5. So 53 is right here. Remember, this is the median. The median is the middle of the box. So 53 or younger, here's what I know. I know this is 25%, and I know this is 25%. So if I add those together, 53 or younger, that would be 50%. So half of U.S. vice presidents were 53 years or younger. Now, in 5, it says, what percent of U.S. vice presidents were from 36 to 49 years old when they took office? So let me find 36. So 36 is right here. 49 is right here. So this question wants to know, basically, that whisker. So that answer would be 25%. Last, which measure can you not find using a box plot? Well, it says mode, median, range, or maximum. Well, I know I can find range because that's big minus little. I already did that. Number 1. I know I can find maximum because guess what? This is what you do. Here it is. There's the maximum. It's 71. It's the biggest number. Median. I know I can find the median because it is that line in the middle of the box. The median is 53. So the only thing you can't find is the mode. And here's why. Let's say in this box plot, let's say there were 4 60s. Do we know, just because there's a dot there, do we know that there's 4 of them? There could be 1 of them. There could be 3. There could be 11. We don't know how many of each number there are. So we cannot find a mode in a box plot. All right. That's it. That's your introduction to box plot. So make sure you have this done and ready to turn in. Thanks, guys. All right, guys, today you are going to learn how to make a box plot, also known as a box and whisker plot. So if you notice on top, we've got some numbers, 12, 9, 19, 11, 15, 14, and 12. And we have some things we have to find, and then we're going to show you how to put this in a box plot. And we'll talk about what it shows. So the first step to any box plot is putting the numbers in least to greatest order. So I'm going to do that real quick, and you can do that with me. Let's start with 9, and I think I see an 11 and two 12s. So 11, 12, 12. I see a 14, 15, 19. 14, 15, 19. Now, in order to do a box plot, you have to find these 5 things: the minimum and maximum, median, first quartile, third quartile. Once you do that, this next step is going to be easy. So, let me show you minimum and maximum. The minimum is the smallest number, which is 9. The maximum is the biggest number, which is 19. Pretty easy. Median is the middle number. So, you go little, big, little, big, little, big. You get to the middle, which is 12. So the median is 12. Now, I'm going to box that out because we have our lower half and our upper half of the number. The quartiles, the first quartile is the middle of the lower half. So out of 9, 11, and 12, 11 is the middle. So that's Q1. And 15 is the third quartile. It's the middle of the upper half. Okay, once you get those 5 numbers, it's pretty easy to make a box plot. So let me show you this. Basically, you start with a number line. So I see that my numbers go from the smallest is 9 to the biggest is 19. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a number line, and I'll just start with, you don't have to start at the smallest number, but you can. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and I could fit 20. You don't have to go to 20. So I have my number line. Now what I am going to do is I'm going to put a dot on the number line for each of these 5 things. So the minimum is 9, so I'm going to put a dot. I'm going to switch to blue. I'm going to put a dot right on the 9. Then I'll just go through. So I did the 9. Median is at 12. Okay, the third quartile is 15. The maximum is 19. And the first quartile is 11. So you get your 5 dots. Now, here's where you draw the box plot. You are going to be connecting these dots in a certain way. So first we start with the whiskers. So from the first 2 dots we draw a whisker, and between the last 2 dots we draw a whisker. Okay, so far so good. And then between the whiskers we draw a box, just like this. And now we put a line through the median at 12. And that is our box plot, or box and whisker plot. But here is what it tells us. A box and whiskers plot is going to split all of our data into 4 sections. So all of our data up here. So basically, this whisker is the lower 25% of the data, or the lower 1/4. This little box right here, from 11 to 12. So that means that 25% of our data is in there. And then from this little box here, from 12 to 15, 25% of our data is in there. And then our last whisker, from 15 to 19, 25% of our data is in there. So a box plot basically splits your data into fourths, into 4 equal pieces. All right, so this one below, you're going to make one too, and then we're going to answer some questions on it. So I'm going to kind of help you out a little bit, but you're going to do a little more on your own. So here's the first thing I want you to do. First thing is I want you to put these numbers in least to greatest order. So you'll pause the video, get them in least to greatest order, and then I want you to find the 5 things. You're going to need the minimum, remember that's the smallest number, and the maximum. you're going to need the median, you're going to need Q1, and you're going to need Q3. Okay, so find all 5 of those things, and then restart the video. Pause it now. Okay, so I have the numbers in least to greatest order. So let me find the median first. I see 9 numbers, which means there'll be 1 in the middle. So this 34, the one on the left, should be your median. Okay, then minimum, maximum, 24, 40. Q1, so here is your lower half, here is your upper half. Q1 is going to be in the middle of these 4 numbers. So little, big, you've got 2 in the middle, 25 and 28. You can add those up, divide by 2. If you add them up, they add up to 53. And 53 divided by 2 is 26 and a half. So Q1 should be 26.5. And then Q3, we're going to do the same thing. 4 numbers, little, big, 2 in the middle, 36 and 37. Right in between 36 and 37 is 36.5. So I have 36.5. Okay, so this is what you should have so far. If you don't, change some of those numbers. Now we're going to make a number line. So make the number line with me. We've got to have at least numbers from the minimum 24 to the maximum 40. So I'm going to start here. I'll start with 24. Will I count by 2s or 1s? I think I can count by 1s. Let me see. 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41. Okay, but I'm only going to write every second number. So 24, I know this is 25, but I'm going to write 26. Okay, so I have 26, 28, 30. That way it's less crowded if you do this. 32, 34, 36, 38, 40. Okay, so we have our number line. So here is your job. I want you to pause the video. Once you get your number line drawn, you get ready to do this. You are going to put these 5 numbers as dots on your number line. And then remember up here when we had our 5 numbers, we connected whisker, whisker, we did our box, and then a line through the median. So pause it, see if you can get it. Go. All right, let's see how you did. So minimum is 24. Did you put a dot on 24? And then the maximum is 40. Did you put a dot on the 40? The median is 34, so you should have a dot on the 34. And Q1 is 26.5, so if this is 26, 26.5 will be right there. So I'm going to put a dot right there. And then Q3 is 36.5, which would be right there. So hopefully your dots are in the right spot. Next, we're going to draw our stuff. So whisker, whisker, box, and your line through the median. Now we just split our data into fourths. So this is 25% of the data in this whisker. This box is the next 25%. This is the next 25%, and this is the highest 25%. So now it says, what is interquartile range? Now here's what you should know. You should know interquartile range is Q3 minus Q1, right? So you don't have to write this as Q3 minus Q1. But can you find Q3 and Q1? I know you have it written down, but take a look at the graph. If you know that this is Q1 and this is Q3, you can just read those numbers. So here's what we have. Q3 is 36.5 minus Q1 is 26.5. Subtract those, you get 10. So a box plot, you can find interquartile range. Now range, I'm going to let you do this one. Big minus little. Okay, go ahead. Figure that out. You can pause it if you want. Okay, big minus little. Did you do 40 minus 24 and get 16? The range is 16 because Here's your big, it's your maximum, here's your little, it's your minimum. So there are two things. You can find range and interquartile range from a box plot. But now,